Welcome to Couch's Corner. I'm your couch captain, Axel Malibu, today, and with me is one of my esteemed Fitchburg State alumni, Dwight Stearns. Dwight, welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
All right, wonderful.
Big fan of the show.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure you're an avid watcher.
Yes, I am, actually. I've watched pretty much every single episode.
Oh,
so
wonderful. Yeah,
love
and there are many.
Yes, there are.
There are.
Overwhelming amount.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's hard to keep up with all of them. Today, we're going to be talking about both of our favorite show ever made. It's That 70's Show, which premiered in, was it 1998?
I'm pretty sure it was 98.
Yeah.
98 sounds right.
Fantabulous show. I remember watching it when it was new, but I just recently rediscovered the show on Netflix, and it took me about 4 months, but I watched all 200 episodes of the show.
There's a lot.
And I know, obviously, right here on the couch coffee table, we have all 8 seasons of the show. And so I know you recently watched the show in full, right?
It's been this year. I think I watched it at the beginning of January. I try to watch it once every other year or so. I'm a big fan of this show.
So it's relatively fresh in both of our minds, which is great. Yeah. So Dwight, back when the show was new, you watched it back then, right?
Yeah, I did. I actually started watching it around the 2nd season or so.
Okay.
I was in 8th grade, I remember, so that would have been like late 2000s, so it was probably end of season 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. So,
yeah.
So it was. Yeah, I watched, and from there I didn't stop watching. I watched it all the way to the end, and I loved it because it was on syndication a lot back in the day. That's how I caught up on all the back episodes. It was on like 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah,
which was good.
That's like a lot of the ways that I usually watched it was not from watching it when it was the fresh first when it was like the first airing of an episode, but I watched it when. Yeah, like there would be like they air it like the next night or something like that. I remember watching, not like consistently, but I remember watching first season, second season, and then, it kind of slowly went off the radar. Like I'd watch it here and there, but it kind of slowly went off the radar. But I loved the show back then. And it's cool because now that I'm watching it again, I have a much deeper appreciation for it, and like I get more jokes.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of jokes that went over my head the first time I saw it.
Absolutely.
When I finally realized what that smoke in the back was, I just whoosh as a young kid.
Absolutely. They got the circle and all that, and you definitely now watching it with fresh eyes and all that. It definitely. It makes more sense. And now, we're more grown up, and we've kind of been through a lot that the people on the show have been through high school, graduation, college, relationships, breakups, meeting new people and jobs and things like that.
End of friendships, beginning of new friendships,
exactly.
that type of stuff.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool to be able to relate to this stuff now. And say oh man, even though the show takes place in the 70s, how relatable everything is.
Yeah, you could use the word timeless about that because like you said, everything that relates to it, it's not just because it takes place in the 70s. That's just a setting. It's an all-American show. You can watch it in any age, any bracket, and if there's something that's relatable or the characters make. Those characters. Those are the people that you used to hang out with in your basement as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Exact same thing. I totally agree with you there. So let's go through some of the basic stuff first before we kind of go through chronology.
Okay.
Let's see. Of all the characters on the show, what would you say is your favorite character?
Favorite character? That's probably Kelso. I just like his whole shtick. He's the big dumb doofus, but he's got the heart of gold towards the end there. Yeah. And he's the one who makes me consistently laugh the hardest and the most. Yeah. So Kelso is easily my favorite. How about yourself?
For me, I always liked Hyde because he's like the cool Zen, sly guy. You know what
Suave
I mean?
And aloof.
Yeah, exactly. He drives an El Camino. He's always that kind of whatever. Not a whole lot really pressures him. I always thought that was kind of cool. Is there a character, is it Kelso, or is there another character on the show that you think best resembles you, in real life?
The character that most personifies me is easily going to be Eric, because he's he's a nerd, always obsessed with Star Wars, obsessed with everything geeky. That is me, and you could argue the romantic side of it too. He's a hopeless romantic type of thing, and I identify with that as well.
I completely agree. I feel I'm in the same boat. We're I always wanted to be Hyde. You always want to be the cool guy.
You always want to be Han Solo, but you're never
right,
Han Solo.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I'm Eric. I'm the guy who's, you know, semi-neurotic and, you know, always says the wrong thing to the girlfriend and, you know, always, you know, does something, you know, always doing something stupid.
You get yourself into one problem, and then instead of fixing that problem, you just dig yourself into a deeper hole.
Exactly, yeah. So definitely I probably, unfortunately, relate to him the most, you know. So
I don't know if that's unfortunate. He wins in the end.
Well, no, not really. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he really, I don't know. He kind of, I don't know. He botched things up pretty much.
Yeah.
There's different ways you could see it, but I mean, he really kind of botched things up with Donna, and
we'll get to that.
We'll definitely get to that. Yeah. So, all right. So let's start talking about just in general in seasons and the evolution of the show, if you will. So, first season of the show, which was, again, we got introduced to all the characters and what's going on in the show. Eric gets his first set of wheels, being the Vista Cruiser, the famous Vista Cruiser.
That's like the last cast member there.
I know, yeah. It's almost in every episode. It's in the opener for the show. Oh, funny thing really quick about the opener, because I'm a big car guy, and this is something that I noticed. If you watch the opener to the show, and it's like this throughout the entire season, obviously except for season 8, because the opener was just through the circle, which is ridiculous. But in any case, if you know they're driving the Vista Cruiser, singing that you know hanging out down the street song, if you look in the background, it's a modern setting. Those are modern cars going by. Like
I've never noticed.
There's
that
a part
before.
where on if you're looking at the hood, you know, you're looking at, on the left hand side. If you look quickly, there's like a late 90s, early 2000s Ford Explorer going by. And I know it's just because, again, it's at night, so you only see the headlights and taillights, but I recognize those headlights. And they're from a modern Ford Explorer. So it's like, oh, wow. It
takes a keen eye to notice that.
Well,
that's gone over my head for the years.
Sometimes I was like, wait a minute, really? So I'd like look at the taillights, I'm like, wow, those are modern cars. You know what I mean? Especially a lot of them, like they didn't put a third brake light on cars until like the 80s. So if you look at it, usually third brake lights. So
that happens from time to time in the show. To jump ahead to season 8, there's a point where one of the characters is playing with a lightsaber, and I was watching him play with it, and I go, I own that lightsaber. I bought it at Target 2 weeks ago.
So
like it was a very modern prop, which was a little bit strange because if we go back to the first season, the attention to detail in the first season for what was 70s and just the mise en scène, to use a film word, of the show in the first season and the first couple seasons is just everything is engrossed, and it's almost like they kind of relaxed towards the end, which is a little bit sad.
I agree. It's definitely cool because even in their dialogue and things like that, you could definitely tell it's that period. For instance, on the very first episode, Kitty, the mother.
We should go through the characters.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. All right.
Let's talk about our favorite character. Now let's go through all of them.
Okay. So obviously Eric, the main character.
Eric is the core of the show.
Who, you know, every episode he's botching something up that he's got to fix or whatever. And he's into Star Wars. He collects G.I. Joe dolls. Yeah. His room's filled with all that kind of stuff, and he's very protective of his G.I. Joe dolls.
Evel Knievel, all of his
right. Yeah, exactly. And then later on, you end up finding out that he was, in a ridiculous episode, he was in the roller disco. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, that was season 7 when he was trying to figure out what he was doing.
Kind of weird.
It was it was definitely a little awkward. Yeah. It was interesting that they would choose to do the roller disco so late in the show because they'd already done several other roller disco. Jackie and Fez did a roller disco. Why don't we continue talking about Jackie and Fez? Well, I guess from Eric, then you would go to Donna. Donna's the natural thing. Donna is the girl next door.
She's the tomboy in a sense. Everybody makes fun of how tall and like
she's a lumberjack. Jackie calls her a lumberjack.
She's got the big hands and all that stuff. Go chop down a tree. But
her relationship with Eric is the driving force behind the majority of the show.
Yeah.
Because they start dating in the middle of the first season, and it's one of those will they, won't they, are they together, are they not? But seeing them come together is one of the highlights of the first season. It's
and
really
it was
sweet.
So touching when they broke up for the first time. Man, that was a tearjerker.
Yeah, it was good. It was good how they foreshadowed that too.
Yeah,
the entire season, like Donna's pulling away, and
so let's see who else. Oh, we got Hyde.
Yep.
Again, the cool guy, drives the El Camino. The Zen, as he puts it, when he was trying to teach Jackie about Zen, and again, I love him. I think he's a wicked great character.
Hyde's really interesting because he's the most complex character on the show, easily, in my opinion. Because you have the whole, his father abandoned him when he was young, and then his mother abandons him halfway through the first season, and he ends up living with the Foremans. And so just seeing his evolution from the hardened, the I am a rock, leave me alone type of guy, and how he opens up with his friends towards the later seasons, and he ends up dating Jackie at one point, and she changes him, and you can see that, and it's a really interesting character evolution for Hyde.
It was funny because he was the only character at that time who hadn't had a girlfriend. Even Fez had that psycho, whatever her
Crazy Caroline.
Yeah, who I think was a great character.
Yeah, she was fun.
And I love how she briefly came back, and I think in the last season.
It was in the 8th season.
Yeah, and but definitely, it's really neat how he was always like that, and then suddenly like boom, he started, especially when his feelings towards his dad and his abandonment issues and things like that, and which was pretty cool, to see that. Let's see, Jackie Burkhart, who growing up, or when I was a kid and I watched her, this is like the first thing I ever saw with Mila Kunis. And
I think it was the first thing anyone saw with Mila Kunis.
Probably.
Because she was, the only thing I know that she did before this, or it was around this time, was Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Yes, actually, I watched that like a year ago.
VHS
and
at that
she
point
was
movie.
also in a movie, I don't remember what the movie was called, but it's a movie where Hulk Hogan thinks he's Santa Claus. Some weirdo,
I've never seen that one.
Like early 90s, straight to video. It's terrible. It's a terrible movie. But either way, to this day, if anybody has everybody's got their Hollywood crush, to me it's Mila Kunis. Hands down.
You and a lot of other people, sir. I'm in that boat too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh yeah, watching the show, and obviously it's kind of weird because when you're younger, knowing that she was 14 when she started the show.
That's fun. Have you heard that story about how she got the job?
Oh yeah.
That's one of those. She told the producers that she was going to be 16 on her birthday. She just didn't tell them which birthday it was going to be because you had to be, I think, 16 to audition for the show when it started.
So let's see. So we got Kelso, Michael Kelso, who is an awesome character. I love how he just messes up all the time. I love how whenever he laughs, he's always like, he's got that face with the jaw out. He's great. I love the stuff that he says during the circles, and he's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's the doofus of the group. He's easily the one. He's the one who always has to wear the stupid helmet. He goes in the not timeout, but in timeout the most. And,
he's always falling off the water tower.
That's his best recurring joke. His gag is falling off the water tower. That's a good one.
He's great. So we got who else? We got Fez, foreign exchange student.
Yep, that's all we know about his name too.
That's funny. He says it in other episodes, but something like there's like a school bell. You never find out where he's from. I remember in one of the last episodes, a friend of his from his hometown came
Justin
in.
Long comes in.
Yeah, and he has like a British accent or something.
Because he's from the other half of the island.
Right. So what's cool is when you see him in the first season, his hair is kind of down.
Yep.
He's got this really heavy accent, and then after that, his hair is like back, and his voice sounds completely different.
Yeah, they completely change. It's weird watching like a first season episode and like the last season episode. Just Fez like Wilmer Valderrama, the actor who played him, he like bulked up really big, and he completely changed from who he started out as.
Exactly. It's like he wasn't like that nerdy foreign kid at all. You know what I mean? So, and it's so cool that like I always thought like, oh man, of course he's gonna eventually have to go back.
Yeah, I thought that too. They not foreshadowed, but they talked about that a bunch. How he's going to lose his green card, or he's going to get deported, that type of stuff. I thought that was going to finally come to pass at some point, but
and then marries Lori, and he's a citizen. All right,
that was good.
Yeah, and then there's Lori, who wasn't on the. I wish she was on the show more. I really liked her character. I know that there were some bad things behind the scenes going on. That's why she left the show. But I always thought she was a cool character. Again, at the time, she was pretty good looking too.
Yes. Not so much anymore.
I've seen her recently talking about the show.
Yeah.
She definitely doesn't look good.
She was a really good foil to Eric for the first couple of seasons, and it was just fun to see how Red treated Lori versus how Red treated Eric, and that was a good source of conflict. I like that.
Yeah.
And she did come back because she left at the end of season 3. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was the end of season.
It was pretty early.
It was the end of season 3 that she left, or maybe season 2.
And then there was the replacement for a short while.
I was getting to that because she comes back at the end of season 5 for like 2 episodes, and that's when she marries Fez. And you're like, awesome, the next season's going to start, and she's going to be back. And then the next season starts, and it's a different actress.
I know, how weird.
And I was so bummed because I was like, oh, and she just wasn't the same.
It's like between Back to the Future 1 and 2.
Changing Jennifer,
exactly, yeah. So that's pretty much all the kids.
The kids, yep.
So then let's talk about the parents. So obviously, Red Foreman, I love that character. I just think, because I feel like if I ever one day became a dad, I'm totally gonna be Red Foreman. Maybe not like a war vet, but definitely I feel like I'll be like the hard, hey, mow the lawn and.
When I started watching the show, I got my father into it, and Red far and away became his favorite character.
No kidding.
So, yeah, it was really interesting because Red loves the cars. Red.
You bought the Corvette.
Yep. That was a good fun one.
Yeah, he's awesome. And then there's the wife Kitty, who always cheerful, but you find out it's because she does a lot of drinking.
That's one of those things I didn't catch when I was a kid, because it was one of those, a little bit for the pie, a little bit for me,
right.
or not pie, but whatever she was cooking. And as a kid, I didn't quite catch that, but rewatching it, first episode, she's a lush.
Yeah, and you find out that there's a lot of stuff that really breaks her down, whether it be her mother.
Or Red's mother.
Red's mother. Yeah, exactly. Or there was that episode when it was like, bring your kid to work day, and and Eric saw, what it's like to go to work with her, and in the car he was like, how can you do this? You see death and all this stuff, and she just listened to the radio and
just singing along.
So
that was when she's very obviously motherly to Eric, but I mean to a unhealthy degree, to the point where Eric goes to move out, she freaks out and has a breakdown, and when Eric gets intimate with Donna, she freaks out and has a breakdown. Yep. The whole season, I think it was season 5, where she was going through menopause. That was Kitty's best moments, because what good's a clicker if it doesn't click, Red?
I remember that,
those were
that was good stuff.
That was funny stuff.
And then probably my favorite parent, Bargain Bob, who I love. I think he is, again, super comic relief. It kills me how they really underutilized him. He wasn't on the show enough, especially in the later seasons. I wanted to see a lot more Bargain Bob. I love that guy. I think he's funny as can be. I like how sometimes like Hyde will be like, hey, Bob, you want another beer? And like say stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, right? And he's great. I think he's awesome. So
yeah, Bob was good. Bob was Donna's father. I don't know if we said that.
Exactly. Yep.
And then Donna's mother, Midge,
who was originally a Charlie's Angel.
Yeah, she was
career, right?
not one of the original 3. I think it was. She was one of the later ones.
Gotcha.
And they make a lot of references to Charlie's Angels.
Oh yeah.
Which is obviously it came out during the 70s.
And then she left the show for a while too.
Yeah, she left around the time that Lori did, because she left at the end of season 3. I remember, because season 4 opens up, and they make a big deal about that episode where Donna's mother leaves. Like they make a plot point out of it, and it was right after Eric and Donna broke up, and so Donna was really at her lowest point at that point. So
exactly. And then there's some parents that you don't see a whole lot too much of. Like you do eventually see Jackie's parents.
Yep.
And I believe you only see Jackie's father once.
You see him a couple of times in the first season, because Jackie and Kelso go over to their house once or twice, and he's there.
Oh, okay.
He says, "Go out, you two go up to your room." And there's a point where the president comes to town, Ford.
Oh, that's
I think,
right.
And Jackie's father's the head of that, but it's really only in like the first couple of seasons that you see him. And there was a couple of times where they do the joke where the kids speak through their parents' mouths.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
And Jackie's dad was there when, hey, Jackie's dad, don't you know how AAA saved Eric's behind, that type of stuff.
And then there was, and then the mother, who was only, I believe, in like 2 or 3 episodes real quick. She was dating Bargain Bob later on.
That's good stuff. You never
see Kelso's parents.
No, they're mentioned a couple of times, but you do see his dad once in the Career Day episode.
Oh, that's right.
And that was some of the best stuff.
He was like
I'm just going to tell him you're a farmer.
Yeah, he's like a data analysis something or other.
Exactly.
Right.
He's incredibly intelligent, and he's raised this dummy of a son.
Yeah, and then there's also Kelso's brother, who shows up quite a bit later on in the show, Casey Kelso.
Yeah.
And he's an interesting character. I didn't care for him too much, but
I liked him when he came back later. When he was first there, it was because he shows up in season 4 when Eric and Donna are broken up, and he dates Donna for the majority of the season, and he's a scumbag to her.
Exactly.
And so he's built up to be this guy who you want to see him fail and have Eric step in and succeed. But later on, when he comes back and he's like a male stripper, or he's working as Eric's gym teacher, those were better stuff.
Part, yeah.
Those were better uses of the character.
But. Yeah. So let's see, who are we missing here?
That I can think of. Eric's Hyde's parents only show up. His mother's only in one episode. They bring her daughter to work.
And then he's got the two
He's
dads.
got 2 dads. One dad shows up working at a bar.
He was in Airplane. I can't remember what his name was, but he was in Airplane 1 and 2. And then there's the other dad. WB, who was, I liked his character a lot.
That was fun, good. Because you find out in, I think it's the 6th or 7th season, that Hyde is a black father, which no one ever saw coming.
Yeah.
But.
So let's see. That's kind of it for the majority of the. I mean, there's so many other characters, but there were a lot of celebrity cameos too on the show. Lots of people from the 70s, a lot of people from now, like what's her name? Who got into all the trouble? Who was dating Fez?
Lindsay Lohan was on 1 or 2 episodes.
What's her name from American Pie?
Allison Hannigan.
Yep.
She was she played a police cadet in the later season.
Bruce Willis was on.
Yeah, that's right. He was in one of the later ones. Seth Green was in a bunch. He was actually in a couple of seasons.
Seriously, he was in a few.
But there was like you said, there was a bunch of people from the 70s who were actually in it, and they mostly had like not recurring roles, but it would be like one-off stuff. Like I remember Charo showed up.
Yeah, Charo with Gene Simmons.
Yep.
They were there.
The woman who played Red's mother was the mother on.
She was in the Golden Girls. I'm sorry,
that was Kitty's mother. Betty White played Kitty's mom.
Right.
The woman who played Red's mother was on The Wonder Years. I think it was. Was it the mother from The Wonder Years? I might be wrong.
I can't remember.
I don't remember. I know she was in something.
Yeah, well,
that's helpful.
Yeah, either way. But lots of good cameos on the show.
Yeah, they would do they would have like a sequence where they were doing like a game show, and so like that game show host, I think Bob Newhart.
That's right. Yep. Sure. Yeah. So lots of cool people on the show. Let's see. All right, so let's get back into the season.
Yes.
Start talking about different stuff. So first season, Eric gets his car. You find out that it's the mid-70s. Kitty points out that it's during the time of the oil embargo.
Honey, it's a gas crisis.
Yeah. They're trying to steal beers to bring downstairs. They're just a bunch of high school kids having fun and trying to cause trouble and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And pretty lighthearted show. I think the biggest thing about the show was definitely the stuff of the beginning of the relationship with Eric and Donna.
Yeah, that's what that season focused on a lot.
Yeah.
Because they start off as you get that their character history is they've been living next door to each other forever and they've been best friends for this whole time, but then you see that spark there at the end of the first episode when Donna kisses Eric after they come back from the concert, and it's basically watching their relationship evolve over that.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff.
And then and also I remember so Kitty's working at the hospital as a nurse, and Red is working at an Oldsmobile plant, which closes down.
Yep, he's only working half days at the start of the episode because he's been cut back.
So then season 2.
At this point, Eric and Donna are in full swing of their relationship.
That's right.
And it's season 1 was interesting because they were doing a lot of experimental stuff, like with their jokes. Because like I said earlier, they did the gag where the kids would talk over their parents, and they would use a lot of. They make fun of PSAs from
that was great.
Season 2 was when they hit their stride. Like that was when they locked down the characters. They knew who these characters were. They weren't trying to figure them out anymore. And some of the best episodes came from season 2 and 3, just based on the characters, and like you knew who they were.
Yeah. Funny thing, in between all the seasons is they always changed up the opener for the show with whatever characters were going to be on that season. Like for instance, like when Midge left. Midge was no longer in the car.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And in season 2 at the beginning, that reminded me, Kelso, his arc that season, or his storyline is he's dating Jackie, but he's cheating on her with Lori. So in the opening, he's sitting between the two of them.
The whole Three's Company thing there.
Yep. So that's
that is cool. Oh geez, I just lost my thought, but whatever. Anywho, I don't remember what I was going to say. So at the beginning, the song on the show,
yes,
that Hanging Out Down the Street song, that was originally a real song from a band called Something Star, if I can't remember. And then they did a remake of it for the first season, and then Cheap Trick did it for the whole rest of the run of the show. Did you ever see that music video?
Like the full extended one with I forget the rest of the lyrics.
Donna and Eric are talking at the beginning, and then they're like, "What's all that sound?" And then they go into the living room, and Cheap Trick's there, and they don't even bother to say like, "Whoa, who are these guys from the future who are wearing, late '90s, early 2000s clothes or what?" No. They're just gonna listen to the song and have a good time. So
that was good.
That was cool.
Yes.
So anywho, so season 3.
Yes.
I can't remember if it was this. I think this was the season when Bob's store goes out of business because there's like a big.
I think that's the season. Because PriceSmart comes in.
PriceSmart, yeah.
And that's then Red because Red's lost his job by this point, and he's been working He worked part-time at the point.
Bob's for a little bit.
He worked at Bargain. Yeah, Bob gave him a job,
yeah.
And then the plant officially closes down, and he ends up going to work at PriceSmart, which opens up, and PriceSmart shuts down Bargain Bob,
right.
And then Bob's out of a job, so it's a little role reversal.
The funny thing is, ever since then, you never hear of what Bob is doing. Do you remember that?
Yes, he eventually. This shows you how much how big of a nerd I am about this. At one point, he spends the majority of a couple of seasons poor, but then after Midge leaves, he creates a tissue thing that you put on your.
The visor on your car?
Yeah, the visor on your car, and it's called the Weeper Keeper. And
How come I don't remember this?
It's a one-off line in one of it's in the episode where Red buys the Corvette because Bob he gets a lot of money. Exactly.
Right.
He's like, I'm rich again.
Yes. And oh man, okay, I remember that now. And then Red bought the Corvette underneath him.
Exactly. Yeah, he goes out. He goes, and he opens up the garage and he goes, I don't know, Bob, but let's stand here and look at my new Corvette. And
that was awesome.
Yes.
Oh man! All right, so then that was that. Now season 4, that was to me the last of like the if I'll put it this way, like the original, like everything is kind of like the same stuff. They're still in high school.
Yep.
Everything's still pretty cool. Still the same hijinks and antics, Well,
because exactly at the end of season 3. Donna and Eric break up.
Yes,
and that's what sets up the entirety of season 4, and they spend all of season 4 broken up. And so at that point, you can get fresh new stories from them being broken up like that, and that's when I agree, that was the last like truly really good season of that 70s show.
Well, we are just about out of time. So I think we're just going to have to go into a whole new episode.
We're only halfway there.
I know, yeah. So after this, it's going to be after summer in season 5.
Ooh, yes.
So, hey, everybody, why don't you tune in next time onto the next episode of Couch's Corner, and we will continue on that 70s show. So, Dwight, thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Axel.
All righty. We'll see you next time right back here on Couch's Corner.